binomial, x plus 3, x plus 7. And we got x squared plus 10x plus 21 by double distribution. Yeah? And that's all we needed, because from there, everything is the same. If it's trinomial, it's 3, 3, 3. If it's quadromial, it's 4, 4, 4, 4, 4. If it's quintomial, it's 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. And so on and so on and so on. It is the exact same method, yes? Excellent. So, now let us go to the next step past expansion, which is going backwards, and that is factoring. We will start here. If I asked you to fill in this blank, what would you write? 4x minus 20. Why? What is this really? Which means it is really 4 times x, right? Plus 4 times negative 5, correct? Everyone agrees? Excellent. Since this right here is multiplying, then both of these two things must be factors. And this must be a product. Are we all good? Excellent. Now, you should all already see how this is done. In the product, I have 4x and 20. In the factors, I have a 4 and an x minus 5. You all should already see what happened there. I'm not going to talk about it again for a couple of moments, but you should all already see that. All right? Do you? You see something, some sort of math magic has happened here, yes? All right. Let's look at the next one here. This is a factor. Why? What about this expression makes me able to call it a factor? It's multiplying by something. Anytime two things multiply together, they are factors, yes? But wait a minute, there's two things in there. How can two things be considered one factor? Because they're bracketed. And what do brackets do in math class? Starts with a G, ends with a P, has rue in the middle of it. Brackets, they do not grope anything. Brackets are not gropers. Brackets are groupers. You don't see that X getting grabbed by that bracket, you dirty-minded teenager. They're grapers. Brackets grape things together. All right, so that means this is one factor. And what's this one? Another factor. When I multiply them together, what do I get? A product. And that product, if we write it out fully, is x squared plus 2x plus 4x plus 8. Yes? And then we would combine our like terms to get x squared plus 6x plus 8. Hopefully, though, you remember, didn't Mr. Myers, in his infinite wisdom, give us a special shortcut for what to do when I had x and x? What was that shortcut? No. It was a shortcut to FOIL. This is FOIL. What was the shortcut? X squared. And then what did we do with 4 and 2? Right, I'm going to call this, right, I add constants and then I put the x, and then I multiplied the constants with no letter, right? Okay, so that must mean, again, I can use some kind of math magic to get from my product back to my factors. Everybody cool? If you were in my grade 9 class, we did a crap ton of this. If you were in Mr. Hirschman's, I assume you did some. Next, all that is done. Now, I want you, when I say factor 12, we already have done prime factors of 12, haven't we? Right? Back in the radicals unit, we took 12 and we broke it down to 6, to 3, and that was what we called factoring, yes? In this unit, when I say factor 12, I want pairs of integers that multiply to 12, to whatever number we needed. In this case, it's 12. What is the first pair of integers that multiplies to 12? 1 and 12. What is the next pair?
2 and 6.
What is the next pair? 3 and 4. Am I done? No. 4 and 3 are right there. I see them.
Yeah, we can switch it around.
That multiplication is commutative. Order doesn't matter.
Well, yeah, but then it would
Visit! Objection overruled. Stop lawyer balling. What is the real answer to the question that I seek? Because this is not done. Negatives. Thank you, Hallie. Also, -1 and -12. -2 and -6. -3 and -4. Yeah? Everybody gooda? Excellent. Now, we are going to do something that you all hate and despise with every fiber of your being, but I do not care, because I am a cruel taskmaster, and I am going to make you do this anyway. We are going to use algebra tiles, which everybody hates, but I don't care, because no matter what you say, algebra tiles teach a concept. And all of you are sorely lacking in your ability to explain concepts. You're all brilliant in doing math, but you are not brilliant with concepts. So we are going to talk about them right now. All righty? All right. Since you are honor students, we are only going to draw them. I'm not going to get out the little blocks and make you actually move them around on the table. So, we aren't going to use algebra tiles, but we are going to draw them. Let us begin. That and that are the basis of algebra tiles. What do they represent?
Constant.
1 and -1. Right? The next algebra tile is a bar. Now, if we actually had the algebra tiles out, and if you were in my grade 9 class, we actually brought the algebra tiles out and played around with them, you would see that this one, there's almost 5 of them that fit here. But it's not exact. So since it's not exact, we do not know the value of this. So what is it? X and -x. And then there is this, which is x and x. What happens when you multiply x by x? X squared and -x squared. Now, the wonderful thing about Algebra Tiles is they do a wonderful job of teaching a few concepts, which should be enough to teach all concepts. But sadly, it is not. And you will all fall back on memorizing steps when we... You will all fall back on memorizing steps by the end of this unit. But right now, we're going to use the algebra tiles. Okay? Now, since I am asking you to factor that, is that a product or factors? That is a product, because a product is made up of factors. Everybody understand? All right. Which means this must break down into something times something. Correct? Some of you, all of you already know how to do this, but that matters not. I have 6 x's. Yes? And I have 3 little guys. Yep. Now, if I am going to factor it, what is the reverse of multiplication? Division. So to find factors, I must divide. Mustn't I? Indeed, I must. So I now must divide this monomial and this monomial. But since they are grouped together, I must divide them the same way. What are my options? I could divide 6 into what? I could divide it into 3, or I could divide it into 2. Which one of those works for the little guys? I have to divide by 3, don't I? So I have to do both of these. Oh, I did that in the wrong color because I'm an idiot. Divide them both by 3, yes? So, once I've divided them both by 3, I can quite plainly see I have 2 x's and 1 little guy. And how many of that do I have? 3 of them.
Oh, I see.
Now, if I distribute that 3, what do I get? 6x plus 3, which is what I was looking for. This entire unit allows you to check every single answer in about 1 second. Which means, should I ever get a wrong answer? Why? Because you can check it. Which means every one of you is going to get 100% on your test on this factoring unit, aren't you?
No.
Yes. You can guarantee, because you will not hand me in something that doesn't work. Is everybody cool? Now, I want to show you something else with this. Observe. I have made a rectangle. Take that product and fit it into this rectangle so it fills up the rectangle. It's tricky. Try and do it. Why did you write so much German on your test? Mein Gut.
Because
Mein Kampf, to read it.
What?
I was bothered. Like I was.
That
bored
font
and
is Blushbear.
So I started writing in German.
Da.
Wait, why are we talking about Hitler's autobiography?
Nothing. Hitler's autobiography is, but it's my struggle.
Mein Kampf. Which
So
doesn't-
I was struggling to read her German that she wrote on her test. It does make sense. Every crazy person.
No, like go from Mein Kampf to my struggle. Those are like two different things. Like Kampf would be more fight or the battle rather than struggle. So
they're synonyms.
Well, but the whole translation of the book is mediocre, to say the least.
Depends on who's doing the translation. Every translation is mediocre. Unless you can actually get the author who can speak both languages. All translations are bad. I hate reading translations of other books. When you read Cornelia Funke's books, if any of you have, Dragon Rider, Ink Heart, Ink Death, Ink Lord, not Ink Lord, Ink Heart, Ink Death, and Ink which? Ink Spell, thank you. When you read those, they're wonderful stories, but they're horribly translated, especially when you read Dragon Rider. Dragon Rider is awful because whoever translated it did not use synonyms at all.
Wait, is she German?
She's German.
Yeah, because I know
The books are
totally
awesome.
different names.
Anyway, back to business. So, of course, you drew it this way.
Yes. Oh, I made it.
Because that made a rectangle. On this side, 1, 2, 3. 3. On this side, x, x, 2x, and 1, plus 1. And there were your factors. Okay. Everybody Gouda? Lovely. Go to the next page. 4x squared plus 6x. So, 4x squared, 6x. I can divide 6 into 2 or 3. Which of those works with 4? 2. So then I check my groups. I'm dividing in 2, so there's a group and there's a group, which means it is 2x plus 2x squared plus 3x, right? And what's out here? 2. But isn't this made up of x and x?
Oh no.
Isn't it? And isn't that an x? So can I not also get an x out of there to get 2x plus 3?
I don't know.
Can I?
Yeah, you can.
Of course I can, but that is hard to see when I draw it this way, isn't it?
Yeah,
So draw it the other way as a rectangle. Make 4x squared plus 6x a rectangle. 4x squareds
oh, I see what you
plus 6x's. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What's down this side? X, x,
so,
2x.
So it's just
What's
like,
on this side?
So it's just like when we're simplifying a radical, we bring as much as we can to the outside.
Look at you. It's like you paid
Bro, you just
attention.
gotta apply unit 3.
What's this side? 2x, 1, 2, and 1, 2, 3, plus 3. So the factors are what's on the outside. 2x, 2x plus 3. Now, as Luke said, because Luke has been paying attention, it's exactly like simplifying a radical.
I thought you were gonna tell me I was stupid like this.
4x squared plus 6x. We can see that a 2 will come out of both of them, and a single x will come out of both of them, right? Which means that is our greatest common factor. And this is factoring step 1. Gcf Factoring. How do you do it? A, decide on the GCF of your polynomial. I'm just going to write poly because I'm lazy. Step 2, divide all terms by the GCF. Step 3, write your answer as follows. GCF, bracket, quotient. What's a quotient?
Divisible.
The division answer. Quotient 1 plus or minus quotient 2. And how long do you carry this on?
Until you run out of quotient.
Till you run out of quotients.
Oh, yeah.
So, let's run this one through. 4x squared plus 6x. That's step 1. Decide on your GCF. GCFs include what? Numbers and variables. What is the GCF of 4 and 6? 2. What is the GCF of x squared and x? X. That is step 1. We decided on our GCF. Step 2, we divide by our GCF. Step 3, we write the answer. GCF first. Quotient 1. 4 divided by 2 is 2. X squared divided by x is x. 6 divided by 2 is 3. X divided by x is 1. Cancels. Done. Everybody good? Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Right? Oh, one more thing.
Wow.
He's writing it in.
If you can GCF. When?
Whatever.
When?
First.
Always. Every single question you approach for the rest of your math career, if you can GCF it, you GCF it. Because that will make it simpler. Okay? Okay. Now, how many of you watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine? First of all, every hand should be up. It's the best show on TV. It is the best comedy on television. All of you should be watching it. If you haven't been watching it, get on Netflix and start watching it now. Yes. Now, as I was saying, there's a captain on that show who is my favorite guy on the show. No, the captain. Captain Holt is the best guy on that show. Captain Holt he's very proper, and he doesn't do anything hip or cool. He's very proper. So at one point, one of his coworkers shows him a tweet somebody did. And the tweet, so we don't see the tweet. She shows the tweet to the captain, and the captain starts reading the tweet, but he's yelling. And everyone says, "Why are you yelling? It's all in caps." So when he read it out, he read it out loud. And on another episode, they showed him texting to his friend. And the text, if you send a text to me, it would be like, "Hey, meet you at the mall." But his text, or "Dear Jake, I am waiting in the subway. Sincerely, Ray Holt." And then they did it like 20 times in a row. And he typed it out the whole time. That was hilarious. Guess he had to be there.
I like Captain too.
All right.
Yeah, he's so jacked.
He's a football player. Yeah, he was a pro football player, and then he got too hurt to play. And then he became an actor. He was also the dad in Everybody Hates Chris, which was a great show.
Yeah, they canceled it.
All right. This is step 1, greatest common factor. When do we do it? Always. How do we do it? 1, first step. You don't get to look back in your notes. 1, first step. What is it?
Decide on the GCF.
Find it.
Decide on GCF. What are the pitfalls that can happen to you there?
There could be prime.
There are pitfalls there. What are some things you need to worry about?
I don't know.
You got to pay attention to positives and negatives. What is another pitfall? What's the GCF of 15 and 30?
Oh, you forget to put the 1 in.
What's the GCF of 15 and 30? 15. Everybody can do that easily. What's the GCF of 15x squared y cubed q and 30x squared y to the 4th q to the 5th?
Bro, you gotta write it down.
So what's the other problem? Right. The other thing, you got to check variables and exponents. So those are the pitfalls that are going to get in your way. Make sure you check all of them. It's not just numbers. Hello, Jalem. How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm great. Step 2 is what? I just wrote it down for you 2 seconds ago. Divide what?
By the GCF.
Divide all terms by the GCF. What are the pitfalls? What do you have to remember when you're doing division? Because it's not just numbers. So you got to remember your exponent laws. Oh, Mr. Myers, why would you make us remember something from last unit?
You gotta apply unit 2.
You're so horrible. You have to apply unit 3 in grade 10. In grade 9, in Mr. Hirschman's class, unit 2 was exponents. So yes, you got to apply unit 2. But this is no longer Mr. Hirschman's class. You will be applying unit 3.
I'll be applying all units.
And number 3, what is it? GCF bracket quotient 1 plus or minus quotient 2 and so on. So we'll start nice and easy. What is the GCF of 5x and 5? 5. So our GCF equals 5. That is step 1. It has been decided upon. What is step 2? Divide everything by 5. What is step 3? Answer. GCF first, 5, bracket. What is the first quotient? X. What is the second quotient? 1. Done. 1 and done, to quote the kayak ads. I think it's kayak. Search 1 and done. Oh, it's Trivago that's search 1 and done, isn't it? I don't know.
I was watching John.
Trivago's got that guy who was great for a while, and then he was sucky and disappeared. And everyone was like, is the Trivago guy dead? And then he was back.
Yo, I got a funny story about that.
Do you?
Yeah, I was watching Jaws 3 on, we recorded it on,
Jaws 3.
Yeah, I recorded it.
That's like the second worst Jaws.
I don't care, but, we were watching it, and we saw one of the actors, and we were like, this guy looks similar. Then the Trivago guy comes up, and we're like, yo.
Was it him?
It was him. It was the Trivago
I did
guy.
not know
It's
that.
in, Jaws 3 or something. Unless it was a dude that looks similar.
Jaws 3 was like 1987, so I don't know if Trivago guy... I mean, he would have been alive, because he's probably my age. I like it when that stuff happens. When I was at Universal Studios, I was in line for the Harry Potter ride with the guy from the Geico commercial when he's pulled over with his family. The guy that's kind of weird looking with... He got his mouth open, and he's bald, and he's got funny teeth, and he has a beard, and one of the more recent Geico ads.
Oh, can you, show
Maybe later. It's math time. But I was in line with him. He's also a real actor, but you would only know him from the from the Geico commercial. Anyways, next one. What is step 1? What is my GCF? Step 2, what is it? Divide by 3. Step 3, what is it? 3. 2x plus 1. Yay! What's 4? What's the GCF? 3. Step 2. Step 3. Yeah? And finally, the other one we just did. What is it? 2x. Can everybody do it? Good. Go.
All right.
You've got 4 questions. It should take about 10 seconds a question. Yes. Laser sounds. Are we done?
Yeah.
Are we done, diddly-un? Are you done under there? Yeah. All right. What's the first one? What's my GCF?
5x.
5x. So what do I do? And what's my final answer?
5x. Bracket. 5y. Oh, how do we bring this stuff into the real world?
You don't. You bring it into the real world by being a theoretical physicist who's trying to get the satellite to Pluto.
Okay. Yeah, because it wouldn't be 6x squared.
Sorry, yep, I was talking to Luke about that question that makes me angry. Yeah?
I mean, like, all
Yeah.
you gotta problem solve, but I'm just talking about applications.
When will you ever in the real world use lying down on your back and lifting weights up and putting them back down again?
Not to do with holding.
Never. When in the real world will you ever ride a bike that goes to nowhere? Never. When in the real world will you get on stairs that after an hour and a half on them you were at the exact same elevation you were when you started?
Don't want that, like.
Never. When in the real world will you have to swim for 2.5 kilometers and end up exactly where you started?
In a circle.
Yes.
Never. And yet, all of you spend your time doing that. When in the real world will you ever have to decide on if you are going to choose your rocket-powered grenade or your sniper scope rifle to do a kill shot on the bad guy who's 2,700 meters away.
Military.
No, because in real life you won't be making that choice. You will have them on you and you will be being shot. It will not be hitting select and then highlighting the weapon that you wish. And yet you all spend your time doing that. So again, I know why you guys ask the question, so I do this rant because it's funny, but it's only hurting you because I'm still assigning you the same amount of work because I still got to do my rant and make you all laugh.
I was actually wondering if there was an interesting application.
There isn't. It is used to make complicated math simpler so you can do more math to eventually solve a problem.
It works your brain, so it's not bad.
Next, what is my GCF? What do I do then? And what do I do then? Is that written in proper order? No. Do I care? No.
Wait, what is proper order?
The 3a squared would be at the front. This one is another one that requires me to discuss convention as opposed to steps. Once again, you have all memorized the steps involved, but now you must learn the finer points of using those steps. We call this Gcf factoring. What does Gcf stand for? Greatest common factor. Greatest means what? Biggest, which on a number line is everything to the right of 0, correct? Everyone agree? Okay, so by that argument, what is the GCF here? 5 CD. So everything would divide by 5 CD, correct? So this would be 5 CD, and then what would go inside the brackets? Negative 4C cubed, negative 6C squared D, and negative 5, correct? Does everybody understand? All right, now, here is where convention, yes, Stephen? That's exactly what I'm about to say. It's like you were in my mind. Get out of there, Yoda. Yes. My mind belongs to me, it does. Now, what do you notice there, and there? They are, a negative is common to everything, yes? So in this case, if you can remove a negative, it is a good idea to do so. So that is a convention of factoring. That not only do you remove the greatest common factor, if it behooves you, meaning it is a good idea, it will help you with further simplification, you are allowed to remove a negative as well. So this is also acceptably written as negative 5CD, 4C cubed plus 6C squared D plus 5. Okay? I would accept both. They are both correct. Okay? But I want you to put a little star by it because we're going to come back to it at a later date and show you why you would do this move even if it doesn't seem like it's a good idea at the time. Okay? Okay. Are there any common factors between 3x and 2y?
No.
1. So the GCF would be 1, yes? So if I removed a 1, I would get 3x plus 2y. Would I ever write 1 times that? No. But what did you just learn? You are also allowed to remove negatives, correct? So if I removed a negative 1, I would get negative 3x minus 2y. And this might be something that we want later on when we're factoring. Everybody understand? Or you might see this and want this later on when you're factoring. So be aware, you can always remove a 1 or a negative 1 to change the appearance. Because 1 and negative 1 are factors of every single number. Everybody with me? Pick up what I'm putting down? Read my mail, mow my lawn? Paddle my canoe? Flying my kite? Chopping my steak? I'm running out of ideas. I should have said chopping my wood, cutting my steak. That would have been better. You're a vegetarian? Peeling my carrots?
You could cut a steak, you just don't eat it.
Everybody good? All right.
You know, you think there's vegetarians?
Go! Of course there's vegetarian butchers. Because your job does not define your behavior. There are teachers that once 2:30 rolls around are crazy madmen that you wouldn't want anywhere near children. But that doesn't matter from 8. As long as from 8 to 2:30, they're okay. Title does not dictate behavior. At least it shouldn't. Sadly, it does. Because many professions are held to a higher level of behavior, even though it has nothing to do with the job, which bothers me immensely. But what are you going to do? Go. This says assignment. I am not marking it. You are not marking it, but this is what you are doing today. Go diddly-o. You are doing page 156 and 157. Goodness.
And if they're not, then probably quite dreadful, so they'll send STD. Yeah, sure, but I'll make you take the one. Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think that's like on that. I might have to redo it. Multiple compared to ice.
That is the first one.
Yeah, that was.
That's fine too. I don't care. I just said draw a picture. That's one way to have drawn it.
You could have just done this and then just take away
This guy, 3xy. 3xy. 3x plus 5y minus 6x cubed y to the 4th. What's this one? 22x squared. And in here, x, 3y. What's this one? 8c. Then 3c squared, 2d squared, plus 7cd to the 4th. What's this one? 5. 1 minus 3z squared. This one. Three. This one. 4D. Yay. This one. Pi r squared plus pi rs. What's common? Pi r. So pi r. What's in here? R plus s. Find the SA if the r is 5 and the s is 2. Pi times what? 5 times what?
Pi 5 plus 5.
Which is? I know 5 plus 2 is a pretty complicated question.
Pi 50. Yeah. Oh wait, 5 plus 2. Wait, what is it? 5 times 2 plus 5. Pi 35.
Expand.
X squared minus qx minus 15.
Expand.
6x squared minus xy.
No.
8xy.
Expand.
X squared. Plus 2z. Plus 8.
Expand.
X squared minus 6x. Plus 8.
Excellently done.
So happy.
Everybody is good with GCF, yes?
Yo, Myron, I'm gonna take my first solo.
Everybody is good with GCF? Ladies at the back. Is it?
No. You add. Oh yeah, it's plus.
Yeah, it's plus.
I said plus something. I tried to say plus, but it didn't come out my mouth.
Yep. Next page. Next page. You have 15 minutes left in class. You are not leaving. Next page.
Oh, Trinomial Factoring. Are we doing that right now?
We're doing the beginning of it. All right. What if this is type 2? What is type 1? The one you just learned? GCF. That's the first one. That's the one we always try. Next, we go to trinomial factoring. When do we use trinomial factoring?
When there's 3.
We use it on trinomials that do not GCF. Anytime you have a trinomial that does not GCF, you have the possibility of factoring. Now, again, we will start with our algebra tiles. Is that a product or factors? That is a product, which means if I was going to use the rectangle model, where would the product live? In the middle or on the sides? In the middle, which means it must fill up the rectangle, yes? All right, so there's an x squared. How do I draw x squared?
The big square.
Big guy, right? And I need 7 little guys, don't I? Right? So, how do I draw 7 little guys?
I got it.
I have to draw 7 in a rectangle. What is the only way I can draw 7 in a rectangle? I can draw 7 that way and 1 that way. Or I can draw 7 that way and 1 that way, correct? Which is the way that's going to work in this rectangle?
I don't know.
If I draw 7 guys downwards, does that make a rectangle? No.
You gotta draw the 8x that way, and then you gotta also draw the 7x that way.
If I draw the 7x's up here, does that make a rectangle? No.
What do you mean?
Where's the only place I could put the 7s to keep my rectangle shape? I can't put them there. I can't put them there.
Put them under the 2x.
Can I put them there?
I don't know.
Can I? Does that make a rectangle?
Yeah.
It does?
Oh, no.
Bro, what kind of rectangle are you making?
Can I put them there?
Can you?
I don't know, can I? Does this shape look like a rectangle?
Yeah.
That looks like a rectangle that's been hurt,
Yeah, I'm
and then
taking
it
right now.
popped out.
So the short answer is no. It doesn't look like a rectangle. So if I can't go here, I can't go here, I can't go here, I can't go here, where's the only place left for me to go?
Diagonally.
That makes a rectangle.
That's the only other direction, man. Yo, it's the only other direction. With the sideways too.
Now, what would I need there to make a rectangle? An X. What would I need there? And another X, 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 and another X. Yes? Now, is this this? No.
Is that a rectangle?
X squared, there's an X squared, negative 8x's. So all of these need to be shaded in. Yes? So now I have a rectangle as a product. Where do the factors live?
The outside.
On the outside. What is that? X. What is that?
Okay, I see.
Negative 1, and I need 7 of them.
Why is the x positive?
What is this? X. What is this? But it's negative, so that's negative. Now what are the factors of this? Where do factors live? 2x. Factors live on the outside. What is that?
2x8.
8.
You just need to count. How many x's? 1. How many little guys? 7 minus 7. How many x's? 1. How many little guys? Minus 1. Done.
This was not my strong point last year.
Now, if you did this question and you handed this in to me, you would take 1 extra second to do what?
Put them together.
Check. Is x times x, x squared? Yes. Is x times negative 1 negative x? Is negative 7 times x negative 7x?
Yeah.
Is negative 7 times negative 1 positive 7?
Totally.
Is negative 1 and negative 7 negative 8?
I think so.
Did we do it right? Yes.
Oh my.
Now, use your brains. Am I asking you to factor or expand this? Expand it. Which means you could FOIL x squared plus 6x plus 4x plus 24, right? Which would give you an answer of x squared plus 10x plus 24. Please tell me what you see when I highlight that, 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 and that.
Addition them.
I add them. What do you see when I highlight that, 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 and that?
They multiply.
So, if I have a trinomial that looks like this, bx plus c, something squared with a coefficient and a constant, when I factor it, I need x plus these numbers have to do two things. What?
Oh, you can put a B and C. That's
These numbers have to do what?
add and multiply.
They have to add to b and what else do they have to do? Multiply to c. Right? Everybody see this? Good. We are going to do this. No. Your homework is up to E. When you get to E, you may stop. I lie. When you get to H, you may stop. That is your homework. Go.